living one day at a time, kind of what the meaning of that is, and talk a little bit about scheduling and structuring your day. Before doing that, though, I would like to share a little bit of my thoughts about being able to be here each week, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Last Thanksgiving, my brother Dave and his lovely wife, Leslie, over Thanksgiving dinner, Leslie tells me, she goes, you know what, Greg, she says, you know, there is a really big need for some of the people that I counsel and some of the people that are in our church for substance abuse recovery and substance abuse information. And so, you know, I really, really like that. It really, really got my juices flowing. So I want to share a little bit about my brother David. So my brother David has been there for me several times in my life. I'm grateful for my brother David. I'm humbled for my brother David. And I really, really love my brother David. He is always, my entire life, I started using in 1977. I started by smoking a joint, and it kind of took off from there. But whenever I got addicted, my brother David has always had, he's always loved me, but he's always had really, really appropriate boundaries with me. I guess you could say that my life really started to unravel when I started having legal problems. And in particular, in 1983, 1984, I ended up going to Nevada State Prison, finishing up a 5-year bit in the Nevada State Prison. And at that time, my brother Dave reached out to me and made it possible. He paid my entry fee into a drug and alcohol program. Actually, 1987, he paid my entry fee into a drug and alcohol program that I actually started working at as an intern 12 years later. Go figure. So anyways, he did that for me. He paid the entry fee for me. I went to the program, stayed there for 6 months, stayed clean probably for another 6 months after getting out of there. And before long, I relapsed again. No changes of friends, no changes in my behavior. And so I talked about relapse prevention last week, guys. And relapse does not have to necessarily be a part of your program, but for 50 to 60% of the folks that go into recovery and they try to be clean and sober, 50 to 60% do end up having a relapse. After that, fast forward 10 more years. It's really funny that it was 10 more years later. Now we go to 1997. My addiction continued in late 80s. In 1991, I was on the streets of Las Vegas, a heroin addict, went to the hospital. 2 months I was in the hospital with pneumonia. And during that time, I had no life. If I left the hospital, I was basically going to be left for dead. I would have went back out and I would have started using again, no doubt. And so anyways, my mom orchestrated the thing behind the scenes and was going to fly me back home to California where my family, my sister and brothers and parents were, so I could try to, get my life together. But it was that time again, 10 years later, that the hospital shuttled me to the airport, McCarran Airport in Las Vegas. And when I arrived there at the airport in McCarran Airport in Las Vegas, my brother David was there to meet me outside of the cab. And little did I know that he was going to be there. And he personally wheeled me through the airport and onto the plane. And at that time, I really didn't know how serious of trouble I was in. Even weighing 124 pounds still didn't really register to me totally. And, now looking back to that time in 97, I would say I was probably 50-50 at best as far as that goes. So anyways, yeah, he did that for me. And so that's why I'm here. Excuse me. That's why I'm here. And that's why I come here each week, 6 p.m. David has given me a platform that I would be able to share. So hopefully you can get something out of this. Okay, what is meant by living one day at a time? It means to focus on the present moment and not to worry about the past or not to fear the future. So you're making a commitment to live one day at a time. And so there are things that go along with that commitment. You don't just say, I want to live one day at a time and just, not use drugs or alcohol. Some people call that a dry drunk. So there's commitments that you have to make when you're living your life one day at a time, that you need to take, be proactive in changing, because recovery is about changing me one day at a time. That's what recovery is, changing me one day at a time. So keeping a positive attitude, taking on a problem, one problem at a time, being good to others, to work on my mental and physical health daily. One that I really like, and I do it to this day, and I don't share it because I don't do it to share it, but I'm going to share it anyways because of the value that it has to me and the way that it makes my heart feel when I start off each day. Do one random act of kindness each day for somebody that you don't know, whether it's picking up their coffee, paying for the coffee at 7-Eleven, if it's helping an old lady across the street, putting gas in somebody's car, older lady's car, anything. Use your imagination, and it's just a selfless act is what it is. Do a selfless act. Also, so anyways, besides that, you have to live and follow a daily structured plan, something that is grounded in recovery with different tasks, different activities that you would do as far as composing your day. So this is what I'm asking. I will make available, I'll talk to my brother, I'll make available on the site here within a couple of days. I'll make sure that it's available. It's a daily hourly schedule. So what it is it has, it starts at like 5 a.m. and it goes to 9 p.m. and it's segmented in hours. You can pull one of these off the computer yourself and end up filling it in. So what I do is the night before, day before, whenever it is, I'll sit down at night and I will structure out hour by hour what I want my day to look like. So I could stay on task, so I could have structure, especially for those in recovery, especially early in recovery. A lot of people will get clean, go into the hospital to detox, get clean, go into a residential recovery program. Those programs are hospital, inpatient treatment, and even outpatient treatment in a way. But there's outpatient treatment, there's still a lot of hours that are unaccounted for. So your plan, your daily plan is your structure, and it's very important. This is what should be on your plan. What I have in my plan, these are just suggestions. Okay, I want to say this too before moving on. Recovery is not for people who need it. Recovery is for people who want it. And hopefully I'm talking to some of the people that want it. And for those of you that need it and not are at the I want it stage right now, hopefully you can file this away, for later. Or if you're somebody, a loved one, you have a brother, a sister, a daughter, or a son, or a mate that is struggling with drugs or alcohol, maybe you could take some of this information and pass it on and maybe help your significant other take some steps to change their life. Every single person that decides to be clean and sober doesn't have to go to a inpatient program. They don't have to go to an outpatient program. Some people are all right just going to AA or NA. Not everybody's addiction is that strong, or like mine was. And for those of you that have been using for a while and trying to get clean, you would probably be aware of that as well. Okay, some of the daily activities that I have. First of all, I don't know if you're employed with a job, if you're going to school, if you have no structure in your life right now, a lot of free time. So obviously, if you're in that later category to where you're not working, you don't go to school, and you're just in your full-fledged drinking and using addiction every day, then put something in the comments if I'm talking about you. And I'm here every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. I would love to be able to put something together for you and give you some suggestions on how to structure your day, and maybe talk to you about maybe getting into a program depending upon where your addiction is at the time. Okay, guys, so what I do is in the morning, these are some of the things I've done myself, and I'll share a little bit as I go through these, and just give you a personal, excuse me, and just give you a little personal bent on what I did, what worked for me, but also taking into mind that what works for me might not necessarily work for you. But these are just these are suggestions, okay? Because remember, recovery is about changing me one day at a time. And how do I change me? I mean, I can't just say, oh, I don't want to drink or use anymore, and just have a daily schedule and go through it, and not have any kind of like recovery related activities or any kind of like self-improvement activities going on. You're not going to get a lot of growth there. Okay, so to start out with, I said you go from 5 to 8, whatever your schedule is like, whatever time you get up in the morning. Say you get up in the morning at 6 a.m. So maybe make a cup of coffee when you get up, and then from 6:15 to 6:45, spend that time reading some self-help literature, reading the Bible, doing some meditation, self-imagery, guided imagery, just some quiet time to start your day for the first 30 minutes. It can be longer if you like. It could be 45 minutes, an hour. It could be 15 minutes if that is all that you have. So make sure that there's 15 to 30 minutes of that quiet time for yourself. Also, you should put in your daily schedule some form of exercise, some form of moving your body, of moving your muscles, of breathing in and breathing out. And I say 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes plus. 30 minutes is okay, but an hour is better. 30 minutes is okay, but an hour is better. And I don't want the 30 minutes, lifting weights and all that. The 30 minutes needs to be breathing, sweating, in and out, aerobic exercise that gets you sweating a little bit, that gets you engaged in a little bit. And then you can throw the weights and stuff in there too. Okay, also, I would recommend that you put in 30 minutes plus. Hour would be better, 45 minutes would be better, but 30 minutes plus of reading. Reading is great for you. It's great for your mind. It engages your mind. Self-help stuff, AA stuff, spiritual stuff, Bible verses, whatever it is that you like to read, whatever it is that feeds you, whatever it is that you want to learn, read 30 plus minutes. I kill two birds with one stone a lot of the time in the past, where, I was training for a marathon. So I was actually on the elliptical or the treadmill 60 to 90 minutes. And I did a lot of my reading. on the treadmill. So anyways, there's that. So also, this is number one right here in your daily schedule. Even if you're employed and you're working 8 hours a day or going to school, you need to make time every day for one 12-step meeting. It could either be AA or it could be NA. AA is an hour, NA is an hour and a half. It reminds you who you are. It reminds you of where you're at in your life and your purpose, that I am a man or a woman in my recovery right now. And it's an integral part of this structured daily program for you. Along with it, immediately get a sponsor. I've worked in the field for 20 years, and I've had, there's been a requirement of people, in my group that they get a sponsor. And just talking to people in life that are in recovery that need to get a sponsor, you wouldn't believe 3, 4, 6 weeks on, I haven't found the person I like yet. I haven't found the right person yet that I really connect with. Listen, the very first thing that you need to do when you start going to meetings is you need to raise your hand. You need to tell them your name, how much clean time you have, and it's been highly recommended that I get a sponsor. You've heard the term temporary sponsor. It could be a temporary sponsor in the beginning, but get a sponsor. You need a sponsor, somebody to that will walk beside you, somebody that will help you and give you suggestions for all these feelings and emotions that start to come up for you when you're a week clean, 10 days clean. All these feelings and emotions are coming up now that we're stuffed down and we're frozen and medicated by whatever your drug of choice was. And when we stop using or drinking, we started feeling those feelings again, and it's okay to feel those feelings again, but you need somebody by your side. To get the immediate sponsor is a huge insurance policy, guys. So I highly recommend that. Along with the sponsor, I've had several talks already, if you've followed any of my Wednesday 6 p.m. shares, about 12-step programs and about the meaning of different facets of it and what are they for and what is a sponsor for. A good sponsor, what I would recommend to look for right away, like I'm telling you now, don't say I haven't seen the right sponsor in 4 or 5 weeks and that's why I haven't got one yet. Get one. So you listen to somebody talk and you see that you hear what they say. You hear that they've got several years in recovery, and they know a lot of people in the fellowship. People come up and talk to them after the meetings and all that. So you get a sponsor. What a sponsor is going to do now, guys, is sponsor is going to put you under his wing. He's going to introduce you around to all the people that he knows and other people in the meetings. He will go to a meeting or two with you a week. And so with the introducing you around and getting involved with AA and NA, probably for me, one of the biggest things, maybe the most important things with AA and NA is getting connected and getting to meet other people. And it's not uncommon at all to have a 6 p.m. meeting at night or a 7:30 meeting at night, AA meeting. And so 8:30, you guys, the meeting's over, did the Serenity Prayer, the meeting's over, and people stay around and talk, or they disperse their own different ways. So a lot of times folks will go out and they'll go and have dessert, they'll go have coffee in the morning, whatever time of the day it is, have lunch. And so get hooked up with that. Have your sponsor bring you along with that. You got 5 or 6 people there at one table. One person works at Starbucks, the other person's a lawyer, this other person owns his own class company, and this other person over here is homeless with the week clean. And so what you do when you get there and you're fellowshipping with these folks is you can pick their brain. Ask the guy that's got 9 years clean. Ask him, what was it like for you, the first week or two? Did you sleep much? What helped you go to sleep eventually? Is there something that you can suggest that will help me so I'm able to go to sleep, not only sleeping 2 or 3 hours a day? What was it like for you with the God concept? Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. A lot of people get jammed up on this God part of 12-step program. And let me tell you, there are several different programs now. One of them, it used to be called Refuge Recovery. It's called Recovery Dharma, which has a Buddhist bent to it. We also have what's called Life Ring Recovery, which is a secular program that doesn't have the God thing in it. So there's alternatives and stuff to that, folks. So just want you guys to be able to know that. And and to know just the different, the different varieties of meetings that are out there. Okay, guys. So with doing 30 minutes of quiet time in the morning, 30 minutes plus of exercise, 30 minutes plus of reading, and attending at least one 12-step meeting a day. With the program that I work at, it was long-term, like 18-month program, and month 8 or 9, clients would go and they'd get a job where they're actually out on the outside working, and they would come home. They lived in what we call our satellite houses, inpatient treatment. And there was a few requirements of them then at that time. And one of it was to go to at least 3 12-step meetings a week. They also had 3 groups a week, to have a 12-step sponsor and have a clean and sober social activity. It wasn't uncommon for clients to finish out their program and move to what we call into aftercare, where they've completed the whole entire program. And part of their discharge plan, their aftercare plan, was to do 90 and 90. These are people that got 18 months clean, by the way. So if you don't know the concept of 90 and 90, 90 and 90 it means I'm going to do 90 meetings in 90 days, because they have identified that as being really, really crucial and important to their ongoing recovery. So that is my take tonight on scheduling and one day at a time. I hope this was helpful for you. I'll make sure that I have my brother put up on the recovery link the daily, hourly schedule that I talked about. And in the meantime, go on the computer, print one out, and try it out and see how it goes. Okay, thanks for listening. I will see you guys here next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you.